Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
This is your host, Alicia Debrell from Insight Media. Today's guest is Sean Romero. He helps men who are facing divorce and veterans transitioning out of the military and helps them unlock their true potential and adapt to their new lives. So without further ado, I want to welcome Sean to the show. Hi, Sean. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Lisa. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I'm excited about this interview. So first, thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you tell me a little bit about your background in the military?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm a 17-and-a-half-year veteran of the United States Air Force. I was a mechanic on F-16s. I was a crew chief on F-16s. That's for the majority of my career for about 14 years. And I took 3 years off of maintenance off of the F-16 to fly the KC-10 as a flight engineer. And I have 630 flight hours as a flight engineer. So I've been around the world, visited many countries, been to South Korea, Middle East, a couple tours out there. As a mechanic, I was just there. I was responsible for the overall maintenance of the F-16. So everything that had to go on with the jet, I was responsible for.
Okay. So I know you focus on helping men that are going through divorce and also helping veterans that are transitioning to civilian life. What was your motivation to get involved in those types of missions? And was it based on your own personal events or?
Yeah, a lot had to do with my personal events because transitioning out of the military was a big deal for me, but also I just recently went through a divorce. And it took a huge toll on me, personally, spiritually, mentally. As I started divulging into what I can do to really find a way to kind of get myself out of that rut, I relied on my faith, heavily on my faith, and that really got me through everything. I started doing more and more research and started finding out how crazy things really are. I mean, for men in general, because there's a stigma just for men in general that, when they go through stuff like this, they go through divorce, they get hit pretty hard. A lot of times courts don't really look kindly on men because in general, men are looked to as the leaders. Men are looked to as we're the ones that go out and we're supposed to provide for the family. We're the ones that are supposed to go out and we're the breadwinners and things like that. Even though in today's world, those dynamics are starting to change a lot. But still, traditionally, the man is the head of the household. And when we go through court and stuff, generally, we're the ones that get slammed for whatever circumstances. With that, I found out that men are 3 times more likely to commit suicide.
Really?
Yes, when they go through divorce. Because, number one, there really aren't that many outlets. And number two, because of that stress. And nobody really thinks about it. Because when you think about the dynamic of the family, you think the kids and mom is that nurturing person. But nobody really thinks about how much a dad really does nurture the kids also, and how much a role a dad plays. And with that, when you go to court and stuff, and when a lot of guys get slammed with that, with child support, all this other stuff, that whole dynamic changes. And, for a lot of men, we're not out there to, especially for me, I was never out there I didn't want to look for anyone else. I love my family. I love my wife. I wanted it to be a forever thing. And unfortunately, things happen. And for me, when that dynamic changed, the first thing I thought about is, oh my gosh, how am I going to be able to discuss this with my kids when they get older? What am I going to be able to tell them? What am I going to be able to do right now? How am I going to explain to them that mommy and daddy no longer are together? How am I going to be there for them to be able to get them through this? And my mentality just went straight to them. But for a lot of times, the stress becomes so much on men because they may get 1 weekend a month or 2 weekends, or it's a bi-weekly, thing every other weekend and stuff like that with the kids and stuff. And it's hard. It really is hard because, a lot of guys really miss their kids. And me being in the military and being deployed, I understood that from a different aspect. When I was away and I would miss my family, I would miss my kids. And then when I come back, it was, you're home again. But when you go through a divorce like this, those dynamics just rip it apart and it becomes permanent. Mm-hmm. And so now those dynamics are really hard to get over or really hard to adjust to. And some men with all of that going on, because now they get thrusted into debt, they get thrusted into depression, they get thrusted into now having to basically rebuild their life and still support someone, who may or may not have been faithful or may have done them wrong or in their opinion or their perspective. And so that's really hard to deal with. And so in my research, I found out that men are 3 times more likely to commit suicide after divorce, which is huge. And being in the military, I understand that separation. I understand that anxiety. And again, going through the divorce, it really did hurt me. So that's what led me to do this and to help men, basically give them a spiritual foundation on saying, hey, you're going to get through this and you can get through this. And I help lead those men by providing that foundation in Christ and moving them forward. Because again, what I see is out there is just nothing but people are just aimless and just kind of just wandering around, and we're looking for that.
That actually brings you right to my next question. In 2015, you founded your organization, Faithfully Led. Can you explain what is the true purpose behind it?
Well, Faithfully Led is based on my faith. And if you break it down, I was very specific on why I wanted to name it that. And being faithful is being consistent. Just the word itself, when you think about it, let's just say, because we're talking about divorce, so let's just talk about marriage or in relationships in general. When a person says that they're faithful, they're being consistent in their vows and in their promises to that other person, saying that I'm going to be with you and only you. I'm going to take care of you and only you. I'm going to be with you and support you and only you. So you're being faithful to that. And the other context of it is religion or faith. And I always say this, you have your religion and then you have your faith. There's two different things. And religion is in context on a larger scale. You see your Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, Taoism, where people go to see and seek something that's greater than themselves. But it's their faith and their commitment to that is what really drives people and gives them the moral clarity, their moral compass, and keeps them grounded into their everyday life and just what they want to accomplish in their life. So in 2015, when I was searching stuff and my wife and I, again, we had been separated for a little bit and we reconciled, and I owed it all to God. And, I said, I want to do something. I want to be able to lead people to be able to go out and do something in that faith. I prayed a lot and I felt God, was moving me in this direction to where I was going to help other people through Christ, especially men, to guide them and lead them. When you're in the military, everyone's a leader because you put on the uniform, you go out there, you do what you're told, and you get out there, you get the mission done. But believe me, there's a lot of bad leaders in the military, just like in the civilian sector. But when I led my airmen and I was there, I was committed to make sure that they were successful, and I was committed to make sure that they had the tools to be successful, but not only in their professional life, but in their private life. And that also drove me to create Faithfully Led. And that also drove me to say, okay, I've got these skills. I want people to hear my voice, but I also want to make sure that I'm making a better world for my kids, because I'm 40 years old and I've been on this earth, doing some really wonderful and blessed things. And I'm super excited about it, but I want to share it with the world. But also I want to share it because of my kids. I want to leave that legacy for my children. So my children can be better people. So that way they can teach other people how to be better people and leading by the example. So that's what really led me to create Faithfully Led.
And I know from our discussion earlier, you're also a John Maxwell trained coach. So how have you applied that knowledge into the Faithfully Led mission? Because it's kind of a little bit opposite. And has it helped you be more effective in helping your clients?
Well, John Maxwell, here's a little bit of background on John Maxwell, because I honestly didn't even understand who John Maxwell was until 2014. I was in Tennessee. I was in McGee-Tyson Air Force Base. And I was going through what's called Non-Commissioned Officer Academy. And it's a requirement, it's a professional military education requirement to be promoted to E7 to Master Sergeant. So we had a guest speaker there, and she was a retired Chief Master Sergeant. And I always knew I wanted to be a speaker. I always knew I wanted to inspire other people. I always knew that, especially growing up in New York City and being so close, 9/11, all that stuff, I wanted to inspire other people. That was just my calling. And even though I'm a huge airplane fanatic, and if I talk, I'm this huge airplane geek, I'm the airplane geek. But more importantly, it was my passion to inspire other people. So when I got to talking to her, she told me about John Maxwell, and I did some information on John. John Maxwell was a pastor before he started writing books and started his company in leadership and teaching other people to be coaches and speakers. He was a pastor of one of the largest churches out in the West Coast in San Diego. And so when I started really reading into his stuff, it was a lot more, everything that he has is biblically based. And it really resonated with me because I'm not a theologian. But also, I don't want to be that guy that is that Bible thumper telling you you're going to go to hell. None of that stuff. My faith drives me. My faith is what provides for me. My faith is what gives me the courage to go out and do what I do. But also, I want to share that in a way that people are going to resonate with it. People don't care what you know until they know how much you care. And so John Maxwell going through the course and being certified helped me learn all that and really helped me refine my technique, because up until that point, it really was, just everything that I learned about when I was growing up in New York and all my life experiences, and then being in the military for so long, learning through John Maxwell's course, it really helped me refine everything and to be able to get out there to be resonating with more of the masses on a different level. And so that really does help a lot. It helps me ask the right questions, because you're not going to be able to help anyone if you're not asking the right questions. People can't be helped if they don't understand how to express themselves either. In a way, as a mentor, you have to be able to help guide them in that way to ask those right questions, to open those doors. And John Maxwell really, really taught me how to do that. So that it took my leadership and my mentorship to the next level. And with that, I really wanted to share that with other people to be able to do that for them.
Okay. So now let's talk about specific areas where you can help your clients, through your coaching program. Because if I recall correctly, you were mentioning that you have built the program designed to address certain things that are holding people back. What can you tell us about your approach and how it's different?
Yes. Awesome. I appreciate this. One of the courses that I'm offering that actually it's going to be here really, really shortly. I had to redo everything. It's called the OODA Loop. It's an acronym that stands for Observe, Orient, Decide, and Act. And what this does, this is based on Colonel John Boyd's principles. Now, Colonel John Boyd, to kind of give you a background a little bit again, Colonel John Boyd was an Air Force fighter pilot, and he was pretty much the father of the F-16, the F-15, basically our modern combat. In World War II, we had hundreds of aces. We had, guys who were awesome fighter pilots. But John Boyd just took it to the next level. They actually called him 42nd Boyd, where he would actually go out over the Nellis Air Force Base range, and he would beat every single pilot within 40 seconds. He was unbeatable. And what he did was he developed this concept of observe, orient, decide, and act. And it's a constant loop. So when you're in the area, you observe your surroundings. So even in life and in business, a lot of businesses have adopted this and have had huge amounts of success. And even so much that the entire Marine Corps actually uses this as part of their fighting doctrine. That's how powerful this is. So when you observe something, you're observing your surroundings, you're observing your environment, and you're observing how everything's are starting to change. And with that, you get the fog of war, everything gets muddled, everything gets crazy, everything gets all confusing and everything. When you observe that, then you can orient yourself in a way to where things start getting clearer, because now you observed everything and now it starts to become clear. And now you can orient yourself to where you want to go. And then once you orient yourself into that direction, you can decide on what action you're going to want to take. And then once you decide on that, you act on that action. And then the loop starts all over again. Because just like in life, you may make a decision and it might be the wrong decision. So now you have to reorient yourself and reobserve everything that's going around you. And then you're going to decide on that, and then you're going to act on that decision that you just created. So it's a really, really powerful tool. So what I do is I teach everyone how to do that, and in a very basic way. So that way people aren't thinking like, well, hey, I'm a fighter pilot and, I'm fighting 2v2 or, it's the Top Gun style type deal. No, but on an everyday basis, where do you go? You have bills, and you understand that, and everybody has this, and you live paycheck to paycheck. Okay, so you observe what your environment is. You observe the dynamics of your budget, and then you sit there, and then you orient yourself. What's the best way that I can maximize what I have now? And then you decide on that, and then you act. And then if it falls short or if it succeeds for you, you go back again. You reorient yourself. Okay, what did I do? So you're always one step ahead of the thought process and of the game. So that way you're always prepared, because a lot of times when people break down, and what leads to a lot of depression and anxiety is the fact of the unknown. And when you have that unknown, it just creates, it becomes debilitating. So with the OODA loop, that eliminates a lot of that, and it helps a person focus and be able to continue to press through those hard times.
So I think one thing that really differentiates you from not only focus on helping clients reach their full potential, but also help them develop as leaders. And I imagine after 17 years in the military, you've developed some great insights on leadership and how to teach your clients. Would that be right?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
What's your perspective on what makes a good leader?
Honestly, it really is just dedication, and being able to take yourself out of the position. Because as a leader, like I said before, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And one of the first things that I did was when I got my airmen back from this tech school, I let them know. I said, "Here's my number. Here's where I live. If you ever need anything, you come find me," because I want to make sure that they had that success. And every single day I asked them, "What else did you learn today? Did you learn something new?" The essential to be a great leader is knowing that is showing that you're people that you care and to be invested in their success.
I completely agree. So let's dig a little bit deeper into some of the specific circumstances and scenarios that you can help people with. Let's start with men going through a divorce. I imagine that, timing is everything with that.
Yeah.
Do you generally work with them during the process or once it's over with?
Like you said, timing is perfect, but I really do work with them in all aspects of the phases of the divorce, whether it's the separation phase, whether it's post-divorce, or whether it's like right then and there while they're going through it actually before it becomes final. So I work with them in all the different, because like I said, in each phase, it really is the dynamics change so much. In the very beginning, it's like, oh my gosh, this is happening. And then when it becomes final, it's more anger and like, wow, it's solidified. And then afterwards, it's like, now what? So all the dynamics are really different. So I work with them in all the different phases to help them cope and get through.
Okay. So is there like a mindset that they need to have forward, I guess, for you to be effective in coaching them?
Well, again, you have to be blunt because you want to let people know that, that you care, but it's up to them also that you can't do everything for them.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way to heal and to get through it is to then they understand that, we're here to support them and we're here to help them get through it, but they are capable of getting through it on their own when I'm not around. I generally, again, give them that support. I make myself available with them at any time, but also make them understand. And I set some certain guidelines like, hey, this is what I expect from you. This is what you got to give back to me in order for us to move forward. I can't just keep pushing you forward, or just basically like I use this analogy the other day. I can put the plate of food and set the food for you and set it all nice and neat and give you the fork and knife and your drink, but I can't make you eat. It's up to you to eat that. Basically, that's where it comes down to. Their mindset has to be able to, okay, I know I'm going through a tough time, but I am going to get through this. And that's where we come in. And that's where a lot of the faith comes through to help support that.
Okay. I'm going to discuss also the transitioning from the military. For veterans, for as long as you have, I can only imagine that it was a difficult comeback to civilian life. And what ways do you work with your clients? Do you help them get them jobs? How do you help them?
Yeah. It was an eye opener. I mean, civilian life is way different than being in the military life, because, when you're in the military, again, things are pretty much set forward and everything's very structured and stuff. But, it has become very political at the same time. And so that really becomes very stressful. And then when you come out, now you don't really have that structure anymore. And so what I do is I help guide them, and then there's a ton of resources that we get once we transition out, but there's so much that it becomes overwhelming. And we just like, you know what? Forget this. I'll just go find out on my own. But it ended up just becomes a disaster. So what we do is we kind of help them get through their red tape, but we also help them find their purpose. Because when you're in the military, it's not to be a hero. It's not all the other glamorous stuff that people think, or the incentives. It's just that it's for a higher purpose. We do it for a bigger purpose, something that's greater than ourselves. So what I do is I help them find their purpose and reevaluate their purpose now that it's changed. It helps them get them to where they need to go. So we'll guide them to job fairs if they need to. There's a guide that I have that helps them provide, write down in front of them, say, hey, all right, this is what I want, and to kind of clarify things and to give them that right direction.
Are your programs like typically courses where they're group, or is it more one-on-one?
It's typically more one-on-one, but I'm getting more into a group course where I'm going to be providing more mastermind courses via, online courses where I can reach out to other people. Because again, everybody has families, and especially, if you're a single dad, I know how it is. I've got kids, I have 5 kids, so it's hard. You got to try and, make time and sitters and stuff. So I make it available for them to online via Zoom, FaceTime, things like that. It's more one-on-one, but also I'm putting more downloadable content on my website, faithfullyled.com, where you're going to be able to download the course there and comfort of your own home, go through the course. But I follow up with you. I check in on you to make sure that you're going through the course and any questions that you have, so I can continue to provide those tools for success.
And also that they're applying the resources.
Absolutely. Because, just like any other tool, you can have it, hey, it's great to have a hammer, but you know what? If you don't know what you're hammering, then what good is it?
So how long do you typically work with your clients?
Usually it's about anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks. So especially if it's a one-on-one course, depending on what their needs are, I'll do a free assessment for them, and I'm to ensure what they need, because everyone's different. It's all different. Nothing is cookie cutter. So I find out what they specifically need, and then I tailor my courses, especially my one-on-one courses, to what they need. Of course, I offer like the more broader courses, but there's a more detailed background with it that I help with others on the one-on-one basis.
Okay, so what do you think the main things that basically get in the way of people from helping themselves?
It's their limiting beliefs. In society, we've already been told that once we get to a certain age, we can't be a certain thing, or if we don't go to this school, it wasn't good enough or whatever. There's tons of limiting beliefs out there. And that's what really holds people back, because when they get into this ruts, they get into these situations, they believe that they're no longer worthy, that they don't no longer have value. And so that's part of the reasons why I do this, to show people that they are valuable. Everyone has value. Everyone can give and provide value to other people. And no matter what situation you're in, that situation is going to help you become a testimony, and it's going to help other people later on. Their limiting beliefs is what's the hardest thing to get over. It really, truly is. But once you get through that, the amazing transformation it's incredible. It really is incredible, and it's inspiring.
So if someone was going to work with you, what's your commitment to them? What should they expect?
They expect, again, I'm not going to be a pushover. I'm going to make sure that I'm pushing them in the right direction to get over their limiting beliefs, because again, those limiting beliefs is what keeps people back. And I'm going to fill them with value. I'm going to break down those barriers where they've been told that they're not good enough, or they can't do it, or this is just too much for them. I'm going to break down those barriers, and I'm going to push them to their limits. Because once you get to that limit, that's no longer a barrier. It's okay. Now you can push that out to go farther out and to continue to break those limits, to continue to be part of that. And also, I'm going to fill them with faith. I make no bones about it. My faith is my driving feature, my character, and Christ has done so much for me, and I'm so blessed. And I want to share that with other people. I want to be able to fill that with other people, because that's going to give them a foundation where they know they can always rely on and look back and be filled with hope at those days of their despair, because I'm not going to be there every day. I'm not going to be there in their most, despairable moments where they're on their own. But I want to fill them with that to be able to provide that foundation. And that's what I'm going to do. But I'm also going to be giving them the tools that they need to succeed. And I'm going to walk with them every step of the way. I'm not going to leave them alone. I'm not going to just throw them by the wayside. This isn't just for me to make money and then go on to the next one. No, I'm going to make lifelong friendships. I'm going to make lifelong commitments, because this is a commitment. Even though we may work together for a short time, but I'm going to instill in them those values that they're going to be able to hold forever.
And do you offer your clients or your potential clients a consultation?
Yes, I do. And because like I said, I'm not going to be able to help everyone, and not everyone is going to fit into what I teach and what I provide. So I give everyone, the chance. I want to meet them and see if they're a good fit for Faithfully Led, because I like I said, not everyone is going to be able to fit into what or may need what I can provide. There may be other dynamics that I can't provide. So I give them a free one-on-one, a 1-hour consultation that I'll do either over the phone or via Zoom, whichever is easier for them. And so that way I get to know them, because again, this is a personal thing. So I want to get to know the person. I want to get to know them, who they are and what their needs are. So that way I can provide for them and help them succeed.
I also saw that you have some really, really great videos on your website where they can learn more about you and your program as well. Is there a good place to start? What's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best place to start. Go on to faithfullyled.com and check it out. Check out the videos, check out the pictures, check out what's going on and see what it's like. Also, you can go on to my Facebook page, Faithfully Led on Facebook, and check out my Facebook Live stuff. And so maybe you can see if we're a better fit. And you can contact me there, or you can contact me at Sean@faithfullyled.com. Email me that way. That's probably one of the best ways to do it. Or, like I said, direct message me on Facebook Live on my Facebook page.
Awesome. Well, Sean, I really appreciate your time today. I think that your mission, it's unique, and I think it's really needed. I do see where you're coming from, where, especially on the divorce side, there's tons of resources for women and not so much for men. So I think that that's awesome. I appreciate and I thank you for your service. And I'm just really excited that, there's resources out there for not only veterans, but, just men in general.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate you, being able to help me tell my story, and so I can reach out other people. So, to help everyone else I can. So thank you so much. I really, really gratefully, really, really appreciate this. Thank you.
It was my pleasure. All right, guys, you just heard from Sean Romero. His contact information will be here in the show notes. And this is your host, Alicia Debrell from Insight Media. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.